Going into 2015, Rusev was on an absolute tear. He won the United States Championship and was just demolishing people left and right. It was constant accolades. He was putting people down. Kind of heard that it was constantly Jack Swagger and some Mark Henry, even though his feuds with Big E were ridiculous. Well, he was doing well. And then at Fastlane, he had a match against one John Cena, which he won because of a low blow. Apparently, the weakness of the most impregnable upper card guys at that time, Brock Lesnar and John Cena, is a swift punt to the junk. Note to Randy Orton: in your match with Brock Lesnar, work that in. Punt to the junk, RKO, 1, 2, 3. So then at WrestleMania, Rusev, on a tank, comes down, all proud and ready to do business. John Cena comes down to the most pro-Republican Ronald Reagan, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. A piece of amazing America pseudo-propaganda. Finish, of course, comes with, there's a Rusev gets his way out of the STF because Lana gets towards the ring, at which point John Cena runs towards Lana. Rusev goes to hit John Cena, hits Lana, turns around, eats an AA, 1, 2, 3. And then, of course, the next month, they had their payback match, which was an I Quit match, which, of course, was where Lana said that Rusev said that he quit. He just didn't say it in English, which then led Rusev to having the legal counsel who decided to come down and say very much in the worst Russian accent I have probably ever heard on actual television. He did not say that he quit, which then led to them having a chain match, which Rusev also lost at Extreme Rules. Flip side to that, of course, is that the John Cena Open Challenge, which led to John Cena Kevin Owens. And John Cena had really good mid-card fights, which got those guys to have some really solid matches. And then he drops the title to Del Rio. So he takes the undefeated rub from Rusev. Also first from Break the Accolade, too. He takes that, tears through a lot of competition, then loses it to Del Rio, so Cena can take some time off. Because, Del Rio totally needs the build-up and the heat. So let's rebook this. And there, of course, are two ways of doing this. Way number one, we continue with the John Cena facing off against Rusev. The only difference I probably would have had is I probably would have had, again, a pseudo-dirty pin at WrestleMania. I think that John could have taken a loss at WrestleMania, and it would have been fine. It would have made Rusev that much more impressive. And if it would have been another one of those pseudo-dirty ones, John could have come in and he said, you beat me twice. One time, you hit me in the junk. It was a low blow, ref wasn't looking. Other time, you had a handful of jorts. Let's see if you can beat me in an I Quit match. You haven't made me submit. You haven't beaten me straight up. And then we wouldn't have had John Cena beating up Rusev, pouring water on him. I would have actually reduced the amount of John Cena coming off as a heel and Rusev coming off with some sympathy. And then we wouldn't have had Rusev breaking up with Lana, which then led to the Rusev Summer Rae, Dolph Ziggler, Lana quadrangle, which, while it had some amazing moments with that flag, and Summer Rae really showed she has some great skill, it kind of hurt all four people involved in it. So if you want to keep with those guys having their 4 matches, I wouldn't have it be John Cena 3, Rusev 1. I would actually have them do 2-2. You have Rusev get 2 dirty victories, it would still be fine. John Cena can still get the 2 big heroic. You can still get the I Quit victory, you can still get the chain victory. And then you can continue with the, then he He had a match with Kevin Owens, where Kevin Owens beats him clean. So then you still keep a very impressive, very dominant Rusev. And then John Cena then gets to put over a newer guy in WrestleMania. And then later on, he'll put over a guy in Kevin Owens. So it makes Rusev still look strong, Kevin Owens look strong as well. But what if we tweak it? Daniel Bryan went into that year with really not a whole lot going on. Let's just be kind of honest here. He was put in a ladder match. He became, I want to say that was the year he became IC champion. Let's double check, because he retired this year. Actually, he vacated the title May 11th. This was May 11th, 2015. So, and I was like, all right, that's fine. I think that worked well enough. But let's rechange who Rusev is taking on. Instead of having to be Daniel Bryan, Roman Reigns, which did not help Daniel Bryan, did not help Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is over on Daniel Bryan, then goes in the main event of WrestleMania, and gets just booed out of the arena. No one wanted to see him win, just kind of like this year. Let's have that match. What if you had Daniel Bryan take on Rusev? Daniel Bryan-Rusev feud? Let's be honest, that would have been a pretty solid feud. You'd have kept that feud going. Had Daniel Bryan beaten Rusev, it'd been fine. I think that from that standpoint, had Daniel Bryan been the U.S. title holder and still had to vacate it, it'd put him one in a safer match. And I think Rusev, Daniel Bryan would be a very interesting match. You got a guy who's got raw power and submission versus a guy who's got submission and technique and speed. Those two would have had a phenomenal match. And if Daniel Bryan's the one who beats Rusev, Daniel Bryan's the ultimate underdog, it's an easier story to push with him being the one to overthrow the undeniably dominant Rusev. So that could be one direction you could have gone with it. Rusev's undefeated streak going down to the ultimate underdog in Daniel Bryan. It works well. That feud works well. Other direction. Then Daniel Bryan still could have vacated the title. The title still could have gone through a tournament. John Cena still could have won said tournament. Then you could continue doing the open challenge. Still do the Kevin Owens, but you'd be fine. Another direction. At Fastlane, your main event, to see who faces Brock Lesnar, John Cena versus Roman Reigns. You think, but it's a big money match. Big money match, no title on the line. This would have then put John Cena pretty much in line to be like, well, if John Cena wins his match, he can go face Brock Lesnar. If he beats Brock Lesnar, which would be a callback from the SummerSlam of the previous year, as well as the Royal Rumble, John Cena beat Brock Lesnar, he was a 16-time world champ. There's a lot going into that match. And then if you needed to, if you don't want to do Daniel Bryan-Rusev, Daniel Bryan can still go into the IC ladder match. But then, Rusev-Roman Reigns. Benefit of that, of course, here's a huge benefit. Now, Roman Reigns, instead of having this, you're broken off from the Shield trajectory to the moon, you're broken off from the Shield, not ready. Roman Reigns holding the mid-card title. And then if Roman Reigns would have then done the one versus all, he actually still could have done the open challenge run, which then would have put Rusev in more work rate matches. He could have picked people who were better workers. If every week on Raw you would have had, Roman Reigns taking on someone like Cesaro. And, you know, Kevin Owens still could have came, still could have challenged John Cena. He still could have hit a powerbomb on John Cena, just wouldn't be for the U.S. title. That feud could have still happened. And then instead you've got Roman Reigns built up as a mid-carder, wearing the same title that Dean Ambrose won. You know, a lot of him actually have a mid-card run, where you put on good, solid matches. The one versus all gimmick still works in an open challenge environment, but instead of him being constantly pushing the main event, you put him instead at the first and second hour main event spots. You build the fan backbone for him, and then you use that to progress him forward. And all of a sudden this year, people wouldn't have hated it as much. But then the Authority could have actually been like, we're taking the title off you, Reigns, because you shouldn't have a title. They could then also use, you know, the Authority angle to try to push people on Roman Reigns to the title off. And then after a few months, he transitions back to the main title picture, but he had that mid-card run to build up with the fans. And plus, Rusev Roman Reigns could have been a very solid feud. Those two guys had the sort of styles that mesh really well. Two big, strong, hard-hitting guys. Those matches could have made both look really solid. So instead of feeding Rusev to John Cena, which effectively then he transitioned some of that to Cesaro, which went nowhere. Then gave the belt to Del Rio, which went nowhere. Went to Kalisto, but went nowhere. They then could use it to elevate Roman Reigns, with Rusev constantly being that guy in the background. And then, when the League of Nations forms, Rusev already has that reason to not like Roman Reigns. He's the guy who beat him for the U.S. title. It gives those guys a much nicer backstory. Downside, of course, is then you don't have Seth Rollins cashing on Roman Reigns. Instead, Seth Rollins cashes in and pins John Cena, stopping John Cena from a 16-time champion. There's some mileage out of that portion, too. So depending on how you really want to look at it. If you want to keep it with John Cena Rusev, I would have had Rusev win at WrestleMania. Could have been dirty. John could have gone for one of the really bad springboard package stunners. You know, Rusev could have gotten out of the way, him with a big stiff kick to the back, and then rolled up with a handful of jorts. Or he could take it on Daniel Bryan. Had Daniel Bryan beaten him, you know what? Would have been good. Daniel Bryan then could have vacated the title. And then if you still wanted to do some more John Cena, Rusev, that becomes some of your summer feud. Then you can throw on the Kevin Owens bit, but still keep Rusev and Lana together. And then avoid that whole triangle thing. Or actually, you still could have done the whole quadrangle. You just could have had that, you know, Ziggler was trying to steal Lana, Summer Rae wanted Ziggler, and then you can still do your mixed tag feud there, just you switch dance partners. Other option, the more preferred option, would have been take Roman Reigns out of the main event, put him in the mid-card for a couple of months, then transition him to the main event. And I think people would have been a lot more okay, because now all of a sudden, instead of being like, shield breaks, rocket ship to the moon, you then have him defending the mid-card title, putting on good, solid work rate matches, having the people go, man, he sucks. You know, his matches aren't that bad. He's got a nice, hard-hitting style that works well in a mid-card sort of setting. And then you could have really driven home a point with the Authority, not wanting him to go against Seth Rollins, but constantly forcing him to take on higher-level talent in the mid-card. And then when he finally breaks through and becomes champion, you know, there's a bit more of a storyline to him. And it builds more for the League of Nations. So they actually missed a really great opportunity to both build up Roman Reigns and Rusev simultaneously. On the bright side, we're going to see them feuding now, and it's going to be awesome.